Okay, greetings and welcome to another Pan African Community News update. Today is the 11th of September 2022. Yes, it's an impromptu broadcast. I am in my car on my way back to London. Um, I'd hoped to be back in time. But clearly, I'm not, so it's going to be very, very brief. We'll reschedule the broadcast in a couple of weeks' time as usual. Just to give you a couple of headlines, and hoping everyone's okay. Starting with Remembrance, and we remember Roy Hackett. Roy Hackett, if you remember, is our ancestor, or recently ancestor, based in Bristol, who's responsible for organising the bus boycotts back in the day. He's joined the ancestors, and his funeral will be taking place on the 16th of September. So I think you can find out more information online. I am running this from my phone, so please forgive me if I make a few slip-ups and stuff. My memory is not what it used to be. The other passing, I won't mention its name. You'll know what's going on. But what I will say is that there have been numerous attacks on people who have been criticising the passing of the monarch, or the fawning over the passing of the monarch. My traditions and culture doesn't allow me to speak ill of someone who's just passed. I can talk about their legacy, I can talk about their influence, I can talk about what they stood for, but not while in a period of mourning. But I just want to make a comment about the attacks on Dr. Ujuanya, who she's an academic based in America. She made some comments. She's a Nigerian Trinidadian, I think. She has direct links and remembrance. Her family were survivors of the Biafra War, so she's very, very bitter about the British involvement, which led to the deaths of many, many African people, including her family members. She made some comments on Twitter, and she was attacked. Jeff Bezos, that's the CEO of Amazon, made a massive attack on her. And if you understand that he's something like 15 million Twitter followers, it was a very influential attack. I don't know why he picked up on her. So the university she worked for put out a statement, saying distance itself from her comments, etc., etc. Just giving a warning out that this is a sort of madness that's going on during this time while people are fawning over the passing of the British monarch, who was the spiritual figurehead for imperialism and the inheritor of Ma'afa. I'm talking about enslavement and all the sins and crimes that happened during her reign. Saturday, 2 days ago, was the protests for Chris is it Saba? It's a Kaba. My memory is so bad. Now, many of you are familiar with what's happened with this young man. He's a 23-year-old. He, I think he was due to be a father in a few weeks' time. He was driving, police cars chased him, hemmed him down a narrow street. Police officers came out and shot him through the windscreen, killed him dead. We now know that there was no gun inside the car. It was an execution. That's a Judge Dredd execution, right? Where the police officers are. Judge and jury, an executioner. So there was no gun. They reckon that they followed him in the car because the car had been previously used in a armed crime or some armed incident. So that's the rationale. But he didn't own the car; it wasn't his car. So there's really no grounds for his murder. I say murder. Of course, I don't have the footage. I don't have. No one's seen the body-worn camera outside the police officers who were involved. The IOPC has said they're launching an investigation. They said they escalated it into a homicide investigation. Well, the truth of the matter is, all investigations that deal with deaths in custody are homicide investigations. The key thing we need to know is whether this is going to lead to criminal prosecutions. The family have called for the officers involved to be suspended from duty. I hear rumours that might have happened. I'm not sure. They're asking for a reasonable timeline for the investigation to take place, because as we know, we see this happen with Grenfell and other incidents. The police do these things and they try and kick it into the long grass. So we don't know what's going to happen. for years, and then everyone loses the energy. So we had to keep vigil. The protest that took place on Saturday, I was so sad I couldn't make it, was well attended. It looked like thousands of people turned up. I hear Stormzy told people to make sure that they are ready for the long grass. They keep. I forgot the word that he used. I read it in the paper. I wasn't there, unfortunately. But the point is that this is not just a one-off moment. Um, the state relies on us venting the energy for a protest and then moving on to the next topic. If we want to see justice, then it's really important that we come back to this, that we don't forget that this is a live issue, and it's going to take pressure, continuous pressure on their processes to see the change that we want to see. Like I said, I'm literally talking from memory from the car. There's loads of other details that I've probably forgotten. But like I said, I'm just doing a quick overview. I want to get back. It's getting dark on the motorway before, it's too dark before I get to London. Other news update: Awami Davis. Awami Davis is the sister who went missing. Now she, again, we can feel this in a couple of weeks' time when we do another broadcast. She was found after 6 weeks. But what was interesting in her case, a missing person's case, and we spoke about this on this program many times, the number of African people who go missing. And even in today's program, I had some research. One of our researchers sent us information in, and I want to give thanks for that. And there's already a list of African people who are missing. I can't talk about them today because I can't remember all their names, unfortunately. But there's always missing people. And in this particular case with our sister Ame, who was a nurse, it became clear that there was something lacking in the level of urgency that this case was taking. Now, the police did ramp up its efforts. Many people would argue that this happened after the profile was raised on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and so forth. So it's a good result. The police finally put in a significant amount of resources, and she was found, like I said, well and safe for 6 weeks. What we found out was that the police officers actually, early on during the investigation, came across her, didn't realize it was her, and so she was still missing. So I think is it our brother Leroy Logan has actually asked for the police process to be investigated, so we look into what went wrong, because he, as many of us, are not happy that when we have people missing, when we have any crime that's committed against us, the process seems to be different than when it's someone of European heritage. So that's another story that we can touch upon. I think we saw the return of Notting Hill Carnival. Sadly, I didn't make it. I haven't been for years, actually, so I shouldn't say that. I literally haven't been for years. But it's been 2 years since the carnival has taken place. And so it's a big thing that it came back. Along with the carnival hitting the streets of Notting Hill, we also have the Time-O, Daily Mail, Telegraphs, all the rabid racist papers, showcasing their bias, their outrageous media bias, which is Afrophobic content, talking about violence, stabbings. You've even got some former police officer come out of retirement to make some comments about moving the carnival to the park, etc. But there has been some good community pushback on this, acknowledging that the fact that even though there was a death that took place, I think there was an artist who lost his life. I'm not sure if it's for stabbing or something like that. They're saying that actually, if you look at the statistics, when we're talking about less than 0.125% of people involved in any kind of criminality, I think that's like 36 arrests for drugs. Now, 36 arrests for drugs out of, I think there's like 2 million people who attend over the 2 days is ridiculous. I say 0.1 to whatever, it's 0.00000 point. It goes on. It's insignificant. It's almost nothing. But what happens at the headlines that the Notting Hill Carnival attracts is completely disproportional to the reality of what's taking place. And so they, I saw some comments and people making comparisons with the Leeds Carnival or other carnivals, and saying that actually, if you compare like for like, you can see that whenever it's Notting Hill Carnival, there seems to be this overt bias, which is Afrophobic. So that's another story. I mean, I don't know if I need to go back into that one later on, but it's good to remember. Welcome back, Notting Hill Carnival. I know Hackney Carnivals have been cancelled because of the mandated days of mourning that everyone's forced to endure. And that's cost small businesses and people who have worked hard to prepare for the Hackney Carnival. They've lost money. It's put them out. I understand the problems that the council has. It's their local authority, their extension of the government. And if you've seen all the billboards, I mean, I'm out of London, and everywhere we go, you can just see that face staring at you, like propaganda coming on you. I understand that local officials, some of them have to do this because that's their job. But it is quite, some people say fascist. I say it's quite disturbing. It's not nice. We can't opt out. It's understandable, British monarch, British country, but I don't want to be told that I have to mourn someone who did nothing to actually eradicate. Anyway, let's not go into that. I think the last thing I'm going to talk about is the case of a teaching assistant. Her name was Abby Balogan. She was working with special educational needs children in a primary school. Her child needed cancer care. So what happened was she said, look, I'm going to work from home on some days so I can look after my child while I had to go to hospital for cancer care. The school said, no, you can't do that. We're gonna have to stop that. You're gonna have to come in. You're gonna come in. She goes, what? Why can't I do this? It's like this European teaching assistant can actually work from home, and she's saying that she's only doing it because she's looking after her mother or caring duties, which it looks like she was. Anyway, so our sister makes this comment, and the deputy head teacher, I've forgotten her name, fires her, tears up her contract, and that's it. Now, this is outrageous, especially when you know how difficult lockdown has been on everyone. And people's habits have changed. The way people work now is going through a major upheaval and adjustment. So, anyway, the good news on this, which is why I wanted to end on this story. I mean, there's loads of stories to go, but I want to know this one. The good news is that she won her case of discrimination, and she was awarded just under £17,000. Money can't replace her job and can't replace the feelings of being dejected and feeling less than. But it is a good case, and it's a reminder that educational, employment tribunals can be effective. Money's not the issue; the principle is the issue here. So I want to big up our sister for taking it all the way and winning that case. Yeah, Sister Oleander's here as well. Want to say hi? I know you just want to get home.
I am going.
So that's it. Probably see you in a couple of weeks' time. Sorry if you've been sending comments and blah 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 blah, but I'm literally on my phone, so I can't really do all the usual stuff. No PowerPoint today and stuff like that. I'm not sure if you can even hear us clearly. I haven't got my click time mic on or anything like that. But hope you're well. And as ever, may I say, may the ancestors continue to guide and protect us. Ashe. That awkward time when you hit the button and nothing works.